Pierre said that Robert would have been better to get some preseason action. It would have helped you all better off to get that. In looking at it, do you think that he's partially right, or is that totally wrong?
I don't know if anybody remembers, but Dr. Andrews said that there's no way he could play during the preseason. Does anybody remember that? We got to go back to this? Dr. Andrews says he could not play during the preseason. There was no chance for him to play.
Alfred said he might be a little bit slow getting going because while he understands why he didn't play a lot in the preseason, some of the same things. Do you think that could have something to do with maybe just some of the guys all together, collectively, maybe not playing as a ton because of the schedule that you guys had and the way you had to go about it?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I thought Alfred was as good as I've seen a running back throughout all of camp, even in the preseason games. Anytime you do have a fumble in the first play, then you have a pitch or on the goal line and there's a safety, guys lose a little bit of confidence. And even starting out the game last week in the first half, you could see he wasn't normal. And I tried to tell him, hey, don't worry about it. You're too good of a runner. And then he started running a little bit better. And, that happens, especially with young guys. We got some conscientious people. They want to play extremely hard. And when they do make a mistake, sometimes they're so conscientious they lose a little bit of that edge. And I think you'll see Alfred will do a lot of great things this season.
Mike, two-part question. What is Brandon Merriweather's status? We saw him on the field. He said he was able to do a little bit.
He's able to do drill work today, which was a good sign. That means he passed, where he could do some drill work. He'll get evaluated every day, and we'll see what the doctors think each day.
And what was your thought on the $42,000 fine he was levied for the hit on Eddie Lacy? What we talked about the other day, and you said you weren't sure.
Yeah, I'm going to go back in detail. I'm going to get all the TV copies, and once I do, then I can give you a better opinion. Because right now I haven't seen all the angles. I just saw the fine. We've been getting ready for a game.
With Robert and the knee brace, we saw him adjusting that a few times during the game. Anything you can do to make that, a more comfortable situation for him?
I could wear it myself. I'm not sure if that would help him because he wouldn't have a brace on. I'm not sure it's the best interest of him, though.
To what extent is that hindering him?
Well, you'd have to talk to Robert about that, and I can give you no idea. But he says it's feeling pretty good. He's had it on for a while, and so right now, doctors recommend he has it on, so he'll continue to have it on.
Mike, what if anything, can you do or are you doing to address the tackling issues that this defense has had on the practice field?
Well, I think what you try to do is get more people to the ball. You can't tackle. And, you're allowed pads one day a week, so, that's tomorrow. So we'll get some form tackling in and hopefully get a lot more people to the ball and get better than what we've been doing the last couple games.
Well, it's clearly running less often than he was last year, whether design plays or scrambles. Was that part of the plan going into the season, or is he just not physically able to do it?
Well, if you take a look at the game, and you take a look at the first game, and you take a look at 3 turnovers, and the third series or the first series of the third quarter, we turn it over again, and you're behind as many points. We're in a 2-minute attack, and so that was our game plan to try to get back in the football game. So you can't run a normal game plan. When you take a look at the Green Bay game, and you're 0 for 7 in your third downs, and again, we didn't do a lot after the first series. We went into a 2-minute attack, and so basically, our game plan has been 2 minutes in the first game and the second game. And I think Robert's done some good things in those 2-minute attacks, considering he hasn't had a lot of that since he's been here or hadn't had a lot of it in college. And so, I was kind of optimistic of some of the things he did do in that 2-minute attack.
He hasn't asked to be held back, or you haven't told him to hold that back for physical reasons. I mean, you see that he's capable of doing what he did last year.
Well, wouldn't you say that right now our running game is pretty average? I can ask you a question. You can answer. Well, you take a look at Alfred. He's still averaging over 6 yards a carry. We need to be in the game so we can run the football more. But when you're getting beat by 25, 30 points, you try to win the football game. So hopefully this will take care of itself in time where we can play a lot better football, both offensively and defensively, and be in some of these games so you can run a balanced attack. And then at midseason, we can have another conversation like that and see if we've went one direction or the other.
When you talk about getting people more involved in the tackling out of practice, does that mean getting more people to the ball or more
Yeah,
people working
always
on it.
emphasizing people getting to the ball all the time on defense.
And also Kai Forbath, it's still the status quo. He'll kick on
Yeah,
Friday.
we'll evaluate him later in the week. We're not going to try anything until Friday or Saturday. Hopefully we can get that thing healed up.
Mike, back to Brandon. He was cleared, obviously, to do drills today. Is he cleared to do anything else right now? Would the doctor say he has okay to play if nothing else happens, if there's no setback? And two, have you ever been around a player who's been so unfortunate? I mean, almost every time he goes on the field, something happens.
Well, he's going to be evaluated every day. So Brandon will come in tomorrow, get evaluated again by the doctors. If there is no setback, he can do drill work tomorrow. They did not commit. They don't think he's ready yet for on-field work. And then if it goes okay tomorrow, then we'll evaluate it the next day on Friday.
And in terms of how fragile he's been here, have you ever seen anything quite like this?
Well, to be honest with you, he's never missed any time until he's come here. And it's been some freak injuries. And if this has been a pattern of his over time, I'd be, scared. But it hasn't been, so I'm hoping he can get back this weekend and hopefully play a full game.
Mike, a couple of years ago when the defense was struggling, after one game you talked about the lack of or the preparation you thought needed to be better, so you kind of got a little bit more involved in some of that. Do you feel that there's a need for you to do anything with that now, or are you fairly pleased with everything in that area?
Well, I guarantee you there's a greater sense of urgency right now for us to eliminate mistakes. That's very obvious. We've got a couple different styles of offense that we didn't fare very well with, and we plan on getting much better. So we're going against the top 10 offense this week. They're doing a great job scoring points, great job throwing the ball, preventing sacks, and we're going to have to play one of our better games. And I told our guys we can't do anything about the last 2 weeks, but we can have a much better practice today, which we did. So it's a first step, hopefully going the right direction.
Mike, you guys struggled to convert third downs at the beginning of last year as well, and then eventually kind of kicked into gear. What did you guys do at that time? What kind of things can you do to break out of that slump?
Well, we're going against the best third down team in the National Football League, so we better find out awful quick. No, you just work on the little things. You just keep on working on protections and try to get a good game plan together. And you can't get behind the eight ball like we have been, though, with as many points starting the second half, and hopefully we can correct that this week.
With Kai, would you consider having him kick field goals and letting John handle kickoffs, just to not put any extra stress on his groin if at the end of the week he's okay kicking field goals?
That's a possibility.
Mike, in the second half, Jordan Reed got a lot of playing time there as a tight end, and Fred Davis, I think, only got a couple of snaps. What went into that decision, and what did you see from Fred, and what did you see from Jordan?
Well, most of the decisions we make are based on how people practice and what gives us the best opportunity to win. So if a guy goes there in those situations, it means that he's done a great job during the week. We feel like he deserved that opportunity. Or it could be a guy drops a ball during the game, the other guy's hot, and you go in that direction. So a lot of factors that are involved, and you're trying to do what you think gives you the best chance to win.
In regards to the tackling, a number of guys have said it should be a lot simpler. They've been tackling for all the time they've been playing football. But is it something that just over time your skills can deteriorate, or is it just speed of the game, or what do you kind of attribute lapses in that tackling to?
Sometimes it could be a missed tackle. Sometimes it could be a gap responsibility. One guy out here, one guy out here. A lot of different things that are involved, but I guarantee you we'll work on that this week.
Mike, given those tackling issues, how big of a challenge is tackling Calvin Johnson this week? Obviously, he's one of the elite receivers in the game.
Well, anytime you get a guy that's 6'5" that can leap and can catch a football, you hope you can tackle him, because he's gonna make some great plays. But you got to change things up on him and try to keep him a little bit off balance. Not many teams have been able to do that, so it'll be a great challenge for us.
How much pressure does that put on your younger guys in the secondary, the rookies that
Anytime you got great players, it's always tough. But this is a National Football League. There's great players in every team, so it's a great challenge for them.
With Coach Hazlitt moving upstairs, how's that changed the in-game communication process, and how's that been received?
Well, it really makes it easier to communicate because he can see quicker on what's going on, miss assignments, or he can communicate very quickly. That gives him a little bit better chance to see what offenses are doing.
Mike, back to Robert. Would you say there was gradual improvement in your eyes from week 1 to week 2, or would you consider it significant? And if so, would you be willing to share one or two areas that you thought he really improved in?
I think I just kind of shared with you a little bit, from the first game to the second game. I talked about the mistakes in the first half. I talked about us running a 2-minute attack. I do think he played better in the second game. You could see his footwork, just his base and stepping up into the throws. You felt a lot more comfortable. And, this is a long process. It's not going to happen overnight. We've talked about it before. This is something that he's going to get better at and better at as time goes on.
We talked a lot last year about Robert's mentality. How has he been? Is his confidence shaken in any way at all as all this is happening and these questions are swirling? What is his approach like?
You have to ask Robert with that, about that. But he's a very confident young man, a very talented young man. There's only one way you get better in this game, is that's through repetition. And the more repetition you get, the better off you do. And when you don't have an off season, like he didn't, it's really hard to get great in one specific area right away. But you figure, just in a couple games, when he's 5 TDs and 3 interceptions in that 2-minute attack, and that goes for the season, that would be 40 TDs and 18 interceptions. Pretty good for a guy not having an off-season program. It's not where we want to be. That's not where he wants to be, but hopefully we can get back and run our normal offense, but we're going to have to play much better collectively to do that.
Then the instinct it requires to scramble, when protection's breaking down, just to run out of the pocket and go, or do you have to just wait on comfort level and things like that?
Oh no, you do that all the time. I mean, that's why you practice. You practice, with those scrambles, with drop back, play action, quarterback rolls, option. Practice all those things.
Mike, when you watch Robert in that scramble mode, when he's getting pressure from the edge, when he's moving around back there, how do you see his movement, his quickness different from the way it was last year before he got hurt?
Well, only Robert knows that for sure. When you don't see people do things, it's hard to, like for yourself, unless you see it in a game situation. I seen in practice, he's got some pretty good speed. Is it the same speed as it was before? I can't tell you that. But I do know it's a much different game when you get behind by 20, 30 points in a game than when it's a very close game. Different things you can do offensively. So we're not going to abandon our offense. I know it's been 2 games. I know we haven't been very, very impressive, but we still have a lot of confidence in what we're doing.